morning. It's a beautiful Wednesday, and it's good to be with you again on Summit today, this morning. I'm Jumoke Michaels, and Banji Busari is right here. Thank God you are here today.
Thank God I couldn't make
you
it
were
on
held
Monday.
up in traffic on Monday.
3 hours
Whoa.
from Abule Egba to Ikeja. Lagos are terribly out of shape, impassable, totally in deplorable condition. And it was actually aggravated by the rains.
Yeah.
You know, it rained heavily that day. And that was the experience of most Lagosians on Monday. Many
the traffic was
many people did not get to their
Monday.
offices until about 1 p.m.
Many did not get even to their
Some
homes
had to
till like
return
1 a.m.
in the night.
Yeah, the traffic was terrible on Monday.
We only hope that can the government actually fix the roads even when the rains rain
exactly.
heavily.
You know,
so I
the
see
potholes are filled with water.
I see
so there's really
the predicament of the government.
Yes.
Much as they want to fix the road. I'm not speaking.
I'm
not
the
spokesperson,
but we are just.
But I'm saying that
realistic.
it's actually difficult.
Yes.
So we only need to ask our people to show a bit more understanding.
Yeah.
That yes, government may be aware of what you're going through, but for now, until the rain subside, it may be difficult for the authorities to actually maybe
August break, when
break.
the rain subsides a little.
But it's a nasty, could be a nasty.
It's a very nasty experience.
Very nasty experience.
Yes.
But thank God I'm here today. This is the midweek edition of the program, and Jubake will actually let us know why we are repeating.
Oh yes, we have
So
to
to speak.
continue. Yes, we have to continue this discussion on the insecurity in the country, and then talking about this Ruga settlement controversy.
Or you say Ruga controversy.
Or Ruga controversy. You know, the scheme is just hitting up the polity, and people don't seem to understand why it should come up at this time. You know, because the way the polity is already heated even before you brought up this.
And Jumake, are you not worried about the statements? Very, 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 let me say, statements, that are scary statements coming out of people called VIPs, people whose words matter. So it's actually giving one sleepless night that if these individuals, high-level, high-profile personalities, have their serious fears about the Ruga settlement, whatever, it shows that we need to have a second look at it.
Yes.
And whoever is actually proposing, whoever is bringing forward this idea, needs to go back to the drawing board and then look at it all over. Does it have to become the main issue for us at this time?
Yes. Yes, it's very serious because, like Soyinka said, that
that's a
government from Soyinka saying that government is encouraging headers impunity. He also said that this Ruga can cause explosion, and is warning the federal government to actually desist from going ahead with that scheme. So if people like this are saying former President Obasanjo...
Or did you hear what the governor of Ekiti State said? That the Ruga segment that nobody and from outside Ekiti can actually impose or bring the Ruga segment. It's impossible for anybody to introduce it in Ekiti. Meaning that it's more or less, they are more or less combat ready, and they are doing everything to resist it. But the federal government has said repeatedly, I'm not the spokesman, that it is not an imposition. That each governor would have the right to determine whether he wants it for his people or not.
Well, another question I want to bring up on this issue is that the Ruga and the National Livestock Transformation Plan, which is headed by the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and saying that 13 states have already signified their readiness to be part of that National Livestock Transformation Plan, which is also about rearing livestock in those states. Is it different from Ruga? Because the Vice President is saying this is something different, but one of President Buhari's aide is saying they are the same.
That's part of the controversy.
So yeah, that's part of the controversy in this issue. So I believe our guest this morning will be able to talk about it and then give us more insight into what it's all about.
Then you want to find out fundamentally to that, why is ethnic coloration being given to all these controversies?
Yes.
Is it about Hausa, Igbo, or Yorubas?
And
These positions
on a lighter side, the Igbo people are asking that, okay, if you want to bring Fulani to our area, all right, okay, so create something also for us in the north.
Spare parts.
Spare parts, So that's just on a lighter mood. All right, so that's what we are still discussing on the program this morning. And we have a guest in the house who's going to be discussing it with us. So I want you to sit by and just go with the flow as we go on a quick break, and we'll be back shortly.
I need the police that can respond to emergencies first.
I want the equipment I need to do my job.
I want a police that won't harass or arrest me for no just reason.
I want to be valued for my work, not feared by honest people.
I want a police that won't ask me anything for the boys.
I want a decent salary that is paid on time.
If it happen with good laws,
Proper funding.
Training.
And cooperation.
if it happen,
If it happens.
If it happen.
Welcome back. Yeah, this morning, like we said, we are still discussing the Ruga controversy. And joining us on the program this morning, we have a veteran Olawale Okuniyi, a spokesperson, the Pro-National Conference of Nigeria, PRONACO. Probably you will help us to understand what PRONACO is. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. It's my
Thanks for
pleasure
joining
to be
us
with
this
you
morning.
again. It's my pleasure, and I'd like to greet you as pleasant morning to you. Well, PRONACO, you want to know, PRONACO is Pro-National Conference Organization, initiated under the leadership of the late Chief Tony Anaugo of Blessed Nemo and Professor Wole Soyinka. I have since inception been the spokesperson. They call us on Kuti, they are all late now, Galifa members, and all the ethnic nationality that subscribes to national conference, people's constitution, Afenifere, Ohanaeze Ndigbo, self-determination groups, like the Niger Delta People's Salvation Front, led by Asari Dokubo, then you have Arewa Youth Consultative Forum, led by Yerima, and so on, and all ethnic nationality bodies in the self-determination group, civil society organization, including the labor movement, were part of PRONACO, and we produced a people's constitution in 2000 that was presented to Nigerian public in May 2007, and then taken to court starting in August that year to test it, judicially with the Decree 24 that is called Nigeria 1999 Constitution. We've done a lot of work. We held a people's conference from 2005 to 2007, where people were gathered here in Lagos, in Abuja, in ethnic nationality groups, civil society group, meeting. It was a people's-driven national conference. It was not a government-led, and there is a people's constitution waiting to be adopted that was produced by that conference, national conference, and is even in court now. We are testing it in court. We are testing the validity or the legitimacy of that constitution. It is to solve all these problems that you have been talking about, Ruga, Fulani, herdsmen, clash with farmers, and so on and so forth, among the Nigerian peoples. But today you have foreigners also disguising as herdsmen because transborder movement, migration.
Okay, now before we actually go into the main issues of the Ruga settlement, you've just started on the note of the constitutional, the effort you have made along the, evolving a new constitution for the country. Recently, because I'm saying because you mentioned all the ethnic nationalities, recently the Southwest leaders of thought, Afenifere, the Ohanaeze, the Middle Belt Forum, and the Niger Deltas met in Bayelsa State under the aegis of PANDEF and came up with the agitation again for a kind of true federalism, asking for a kind of constitutional reform, so to speak. Were you part of that arrangement?
Well, PRONACO will always support all that because PRONACO is the parent body, is the umbrella body for nationalities to come together and have a major conference. That is the highest body you can have in the land. That will bring everybody. It's an amalgam where you have everybody together in a People's National Conference of Nigeria. So whatever is done by organs or members of PRONACO, anyway, is supported by PRONACO. It is still to bring about political stability and peace for the country, which will give back to economic prosperity of the state and individual. So whatever was done at that level was purely backed by PRONACO because it's still in the direction of finding peace, harmony among the diverse component unit of Nigeria. And we must look for that before we can talk about development in Nigeria. It's not possible in an unstable polity to have economic prosperity. It will never happen. Investors will never even come when you have the kind of killings that's going on in Nigeria and you want people to come and invest. When you have the clashes that's happening, when you have the insecurity that's happening, people will be bothered more about safety to talk about economic prosperity. And as a matter of fact, even the kind of clashes we have are undermining economic prosperity at the moment, because when you have cattle go into a farm and eat up farm product or produce or the farms of people, you have problem with that. You have problem in terms of economic, because you won't be able to have the crops.
Okay, even at that point, you've just raised the major, the genesis of the whole issue. The farmers, headers, clashes.
Yes.
That when the cattle goes into people's farm and destroys the farmlands and all that. Now the federal government, in order to actually find a lasting solution to all the clashes, that have actually erupted in the last couple of years came up with different plans. The latest is the Ruga settlement. And the Ruga has actually sparked up a controversy we've never known in this country. That is almost the leaders of thought, like Professor Wole Soyinka, in the news this morning said the Ruga settlement would actually cause explosion. You also are aware of what some of the governors have said, that the Ruga is not meant for their state. Let it not come near their state. Do you not think, so if the federal government has come up with the lasting solution, should anybody oppose it? What's your view?
Well, there is a deep-rooted mistrust among the peoples of Nigeria. And you have to find a way to deal with that first and foremost before setting up anything with Ruga. Cannot work the way we are at the moment as Nigerians. It will be sabotage. It will be used as alibi to cause more crisis. And so you have to first and foremost facilitate political cohesion of the country through a constitutional discussion that can bring about some semblance of understanding among the nationalities that are cohabiting within the Nigerian space. It's very important you do that. If you go and foist Ruga on the people of Ondo State that are being killed by Fulani herdsmen who do not even have cattle anymore, and then just come out on the road, kidnap people, go seek for ransom or kill them. You can't, because nobody in that region will trust those kind of elements to be able to live around them, give them a territory, because they see it as an expansionist agenda of the Fulani. And you know the Fulani always, they have a history of expanding. They overrun their Hausa territory and conquer them. They have a conquest mentality. Wherever they come as guest or visitor, they eventually conquer the place because it comes, and so they do everything. So given that antecedent, historically, you will be creating an explosion according to by just foisting. You if you must do that at all, which I don't think is not necessary, because the alternative, like ranches, and so on and so forth. And in the true federalism, it is the state, the component that determines what they want. The federal government cannot even recommend. It is the state that will, in its own consultative assembly, because it's about, you see, what they want to do is also about redefining the constitutional structure of Nigeria in the way it touches on the constitution. It's a constitution structure is the same thing. It's legal or whatever political structure of the country. When you go and bring some people who are not part of particular
considered to be outsiders.
Tribe, because we are still tribal here. Still, not.
Oh, you said we're still tribal.
Oh, we are still largely tribal. Still tribal here. You see, so when you go and foist, and they are not seen as the same people, the same culture, the same history, the same language, then and we let not why. And those ones also have mentality that these people are not our people too. You know,
they are visitors then.
Yes, they are not people, and that we can take over this place and rule this place, just we have done in Ilorin, or we have done in Kano, we have done in Sokoto. We can do that here. What stops us? So since they have such mentality, you have not already created an understanding or education or information, and you force that, you may run into a dead end, in which case you will be bridging a situation where there won't be Nigeria anymore, because it will just explode everywhere. So
you are quoting, you are actually re-echoing what Prof said. Yes,
it's a keg of gunpowder that we want to sit on, and it will explode. It's a dangerous thing, risky thing to do. The first thing, if you understand conflict management mechanism in the society or among people, the first thing is to facilitate understanding. People begin to have trust, you know, and see one another as one, we are Nigerian. There is no Nigerian. There is no Nigerian or national agenda, national mentality. That doesn't exist in Nigeria. You see yourself as Yoruba, you see as Igbo, you see, that is what exists at the moment. So if you want to build a national identity, then you must have a conference.
Are you,
for
going,
that.
are you taking us back to 2014?
Oh,
National
definitely,
Conference?
that is a starting point. Although that is not supposed to be a constituent assembly in any case, because that I am an expert in this field, and I am one of those who facilitated in the real sense of private of what happened in 2014. Because I told the government at that time that Nigerian treaty, which is 100 years, will expire in 2014, January 1. The one signed by Lord Lugard, and that the peoples of Nigeria will have the right to do whatever they want. Not with that, because what you have is a military constitution. We cannot hold people, which has been queried. And so I told President Jonathan at that point, and I at a conference where September 22, 2012, they invited some of us who were experts in this, and I told them point then that you are sitting here. When we get to 2014, that we won't be able to hold those that are some of our that I know, because I know what people will apply. And then people can say they declare the Odua Republic. They say the Niger Delta Republic. They say the what you call Biafra, because that is the people must have, and that is embedded in the Convention of the United Nations, that the right of self-determination to indigenous people, wherever they find themselves, in Nigeria, in Spain, in everywhere you see, in state, the Barcelona, the Catalonia, what do you call it? They are also agitating for self-determination, and self-determination is a right, as endorsed by the United Nations, of indigenous people. So I told them to say, they are sitting on the keg of gunpowder. The Amalgamation Treaty of 1914, or any treaty for that matter, is expected to last for 100 years. And you are seated here, Mr. President Jonathan. By 2013, our people will start agitation, because that binds them will expire by January 1st, 2014. So they quickly put over a committee to say, let them interface with. And we interfaced for about 3-4 weeks, and I did a paper for them. That conference was also not totally manageable we wanted.
The confab.
Yes, that conference. Because our proposal was, some of them were circumvented. We are expert. This is the work we do. This is what we know how to do. This is what we have been trained under the best of political leaders in the country.
So are you saying that we need to come back to that table?
We will come back to that point and proceed. There are 600 recommendations. Some of them are just policy related. Some of them are constitutional, which you cannot do except you review the 1999 Constitution. You must go back to the parliament, the way we go, and we have given them the model, how to proceed to a people's constitution. We have given that model. The president can drive it. He has power under Section 5 of the 1999 Constitution, which to me is just a decree anyway. It will not be really binding. But by the force of by force of their presence, they are able to make it a constitution. But if shop come to shop, which come to shop, the Nigerian people can say, can suspend that. But that will have to the balance of power between the people and the state. That's another thing. But so we have told them that the way to proceed to a people's constitution is for you to present to the parliament to say, look, we need to repeal this decree 24. We need to repeal it, and in repealing it, the people of Nigeria there must be some form of constituent assembly, democratically elected constituent assembly. People are elected, just like the 1989 constituent assembly piloted or facilitated by the Babangida regime. People will be elected, people will come there and then discuss what they want to do. And then the people of Nigeria at the constituent assembly can adopt that. They can take it to a referendum, and the people can endorse it. That way, it's so easy. There is no, it's not a rocket science. But you know, those who benefit from power at any point, we never allow you to get that done, because it will never, whatever you are doing is going to democratize the wealth of the country and will not put it in the hand of a few people.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to take up from where you actually ended your submission, that people who benefit from power usually circumvent, usually take advantage, and do a whole lot of things to benefit come to them. This Ruga, this for themselves. This Ruga issue is being alleged to be the brain work, the brainchild of certain individuals who are very, very powerful and who see this an advantage that they want to exploit in this administration. They are the ones actually behind this Ruga settlement. That in the real sense of it, those who are in need of this, the Fulani, the headers, are no more than 20%. But the people who are actually pushing these policies would actually take the land and then corner the land in future for their individual benefit. Do you see that way?
It's possible in Nigeria. The thing is it's possible, because what people use government to do in Nigeria is to purify the Commonwealth, is to steal. And that's why you have corruption. And that will be possible. You cannot exterminate corruption by EFCC. I have told the EFCC chairman that point. It will not be possible by force. When you create a foundation, a constitutional foundation, a system that is corrupt, and then you go and bring 200 EFCC, well, it's impossible, because you must only survive by corruption in this system. The foundation, it's the Bible which says
I want to disagree
if the foundation is faulty.
How can you say you can only survive by corruption in Nigeria?
Oh yes, those who are in money and billions today, are they better than you in terms of intelligence, in terms of you work, hard work and whatever? See here, working like that. See them, their humongous cost of governance, 1-something billion in the National Assembly, and then doing nothing. Some of them don't even go there, they fly to, and you are saying that it's not possible. No. You have paraphernalia of office that
we have capitalism in this part of
it's
the
not
world.
about capitalism.
Just as it's practiced in the US. There are billionaires who are not corrupt in other parts of the world.
The system in the US, look at Britain, it's still capitalist. See, the Prime Minister will just end, no policeman will stand behind him. He just enters simply, because there is even no cause for insecurity, because there is you cannot acquire humongous where people will query it. Where is this coming? You don't have 200 billion. They will query it. What have you been doing? But here it is free money. Nigeria system is the corrupt system, is the problem. It is not Nigeria. It is the system, it's the foundation. And if a foundation be faulty, what righteousness, what can the righteous do? Be a pope, be a man. You can't do it. It's a spirit which you have created. So you have to go and exterminate that spirit, deliverance for the country through constitutional model. Except you do that, nothing. You bring EFCC, bring ICPC, you can only, and all you will now resort to is that we are in government now. Join us if you don't want to be prosecuted. That is all you can do. I stand to be challenged anywhere. I know, look, we have gone through all these researches. We have done with a narrow, sleepless night. We sit down for 2 years, debating, arguing. I will debate with the old man to a point, and I see superior logic. And then we go back again in the morning, as if it's just Nigeria. How do we help Nigeria? How do we make it stable? That's all we've been doing. Even the policy, we try to create parties. A party of similar, very good, don't let me use good, nobody is good. People who are concerned, we try to create, but it won't work, because we need to, those who have humongous money, we go and buy votes, and buy you, and buy the media, and then the media will not report you. It's because the media also
the media
also have to survive.
Okay.
No, I understand, I appreciate the media has to survive, And so when a big man with flowing agbada like my own bring and then one good man, Wole Soyinka comes in there, you won't. That's why Gani Fani was not voted, even in his own town in Ondo. So there is nothing like that. You must get a party of. That's another issue, apart from constitution. Now you don't have party in the real sense of it, like the Awo period era, where you have party that will discuss policy. Now it's just business. How do we share this thing?
I know there are constitutional explanations to some of the challenges we have had over time. Yes. But look at the current one, the Ruga thing.
Yes.
Irrespective of how good that policy is or the intentions behind it, a lot of people say ethnic colorations are being given to the Ruga settlement. But when it comes from somebody like Professor Wole Soyinka, you want to think deeply about that allegation. Would somebody like that actually give ethnic coloration to a very fundamental issues of Ruga, for instance?
No, it's just being contextual, looking at our context and knowing the peoples, the differences. It's a diverse society setting. Nigeria is a diverse setting. We are not one people. You must first, Oyibo came here.
So it must be brought down because it's not from us.
The colonial British came here and forced us to live together for their own economic interest. Just for their own economic interest. And when they were going, they imposed and foisted their own lackeys to continue to help them. They said, no, these ones are too educated. No. They will contest this. They will debate it with us. Let us put this one, give them an advantage. They will be subservient. And so that continues. Then you brought military as disaster to take over. And then they mismanaged everything and bastardized it. Even when they were trying to put it together through June 12, they spoiled it again. They could have done it well, finished it well with the 1989 continuum. That one didn't see the day. Nigeria has, I don't want to use this word here. What we know about Nigeria and those who run Nigeria, we wrong. And then they use security again, disbanded security to all kinds of things. Security network
But even when you talk about security, this government has actually come up with, for instance, we now have a security
apparatus.
We have the security
of the state. Also, is in the pocket of people who say, all kinds of things.
What's your opinion about this constitution of the National Security Committee comprising the governors? Is that not a way forward towards some security?
The governor cannot operate outside his people. That is also a problem. The states do not have their own constitution in a federalism. That cannot be federalism, where the states do not have state constitution side by side with the central of national or federal constitution.
That means whatever they decide,
it's a unity
defer to the federal government.
Yes, all the just right roughshod on the state. Come and you call it federalism? That is a military misnomer brought into the Nigerian system. That cannot be a federalism. That is a unitary military dictatorship. As a matter of fact, what we have is a civilian rule, quasi-military. At the moment, we don't have democracy. When people like us who are deep about these things, people look and say we have democracy. You don't have democracy in the system. You don't have a constitution. Yes, I will say that because of, how far I have gone in researching Nigeria. From 1886 to 2000, I did a research for the Nigerian Bar Association in 2012. And I studied our constitutional exploration and I critiqued it. And I saw a whole lot of mess. The best would have been under Babangida, but he squandered it. In 1980, the political transition program, we started political under J.S. Cookie and so on, and the zero-party election, and then the Constituent Assembly, and then the June 12th. It was all those excellent because he used the best Eget, Wole Soyinka, Taiwo Larin, Oyoba, Bolaji Akin. He used everything and used all of them and messed it up at the end of it. So that is the problem with Nigeria. We have not dealt with creating national unity or national cohesion or national identity. It is not there. And you can't go and foist Ruga suddenly. People can even sabotage it, can propagandize around it and say, this is what. But if you have first foisted, you say, well, we discussed it, we all agreed to it at the conference that you give us so area in Kano, and then our people will be this, and our governors will be in charge. But your governors are not even in charge. Who are you going to hold accountable from Ijebu land? The president that you cannot touch? So the president also attended Pronaco, President Muhammadu Buhari. He was with us here at the one convened in Magodo here. You remember, he came in with the former governor Tinubu on that day, and he met with Chief Enaru. And we agreed that the Pronaco resolution would be pursued because he was going to be president. And we built all the machinery in Southwest. So what are we talking about? So he knows it should be better. We have advised, but people around him today, who were not with us, I wouldn't know that. But if he's advised to take that route, we have more stability for this government.
All right, we will take a quick break because we want you to be part of this discussion. We'll open the lines and you can call in to share with us your opinion on this regard controversy, and if you have any question for our guest, you can also ask. So, get your phones ready. We'll be back after this break and you can call in. To have you back with us. The number to call to be a part of this program is 0705 921 1146, 0705 929 0146. We'll have the number there on the screen. You can call in to be a part of this discussion this morning. All right, another issue around this Ruga issue is that the one of the Vice President, the National Livestock Transformation Plan, he said that it's different from the Ruga scheme. But a presidential aide has come out to say that it's actually the same.
We understand
and that 13 states have already indicated interest in that, in the one the Vice President is coordinating under the National Economic Council.
Well, the way I understand this should not be the same. The one under the Vice President should really be economic innovation, because that's to transform and create more livestock for our economy to grow. Well, it may have a link, but it can be the same. It may have a link as regards cattle rearing. It may have a tangential link, but then it cannot be the same, because that is about livestock generally, and breeding livestock, and it's also about ensuring that you have productivity in that sector. So it cannot really be, but it can have link when it comes to cattle, because also if you must transform production or productivity, the area of cattle rearing,
but should we even have any of it at all?
No, you can have that. You can have that if it doesn't extend to claiming people's land or trying to foist some new settlement within a particular society which is being resisted. You can have that. You can have your plan to say, well, we want to be the highest exporter of livestock.
Okay, historically, this the Ruga thing, though the name is new, novel, but historically we've always had settlements in the past. For instance, in the Kaduna South, as the Zango Kataf area, government in the 60s actually created a big settlement.
Hello. Hello, good morning. Hello, can you hear me? Good morning. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from? What's your name and where are you calling from? Apapa. All right. All right, let's have your contribution. I can hear you. Please go on.
And ranching.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Can you handle that, sir?
Well, ranching is clear. Ranching is a situation where you have a space, a territory as carved out by government, state government, the local government, the local government, created to breed cattle. So you have those who are tendering it, living there, they have their welfare facilities there, they have everything there. And ranches will be essentially for those who are resident or indigenous of that particular place, those who are accepted, not so to say outsiders being brought in to that area to come and have a settlement because of the difference of culture and the rest. So ranching is essentially for professionals. They are also trained. Government is involved. Government is directly involved in this case. It can be private, public, private enterprise. But essentially for that particular, the people of that area, the people of that zone, that particular geographic zone, so that it is essentially made in the interest of that particular state or local government or ward or whatever. Why Ruga is trying to bring in Fulani essentially to
just a minute, sir.
Hello.
They are not indigenous to.
Hello, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from? Ajawai State. All right. Okay, please let's have your contribution. Good morning. All right, please go on. Hello? We can hear you, go on.
Nigeria, I think the Ruga issue
Thank you for
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so he said that
Those
he
are
wants
his
to
opinions.
focus on more important issues.
Yes, because it will cause problem because people are being kidnapped, and Ruga is essentially Fulani driven or based, Fulani X-Men based, because that is why it's causing problem. Because and those who have been associated to banditry and kidnapping in Southwest, for instance, and in other parts, are Fulani. They may not be Nigerian Fulani.
Are largely Fulanis.
Yes,
we
are
have seen
largely-
instances
yes, are largely
of people
Fulani.
who
You are
disguise.
right. Yes, you are right. You are right. But some of the Fulanis may not even be from Nigeria. But then how do you differentiate who is a Nigerian among them? Since you are Fulani, and then Fulani has the culture of expanding and migrating and conquest mentality. The conquest mentality is the fear here. And so that is why it has generated so much issue, because people want to be secured wherever they are.
So what would you prefer? Okay, we want to take the last call. Hello?
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Hello, good
Yeah.
morning. Can you hear me? All right. What's your name and where are you calling from? Obalende, all right. Moses, please go on. Yeah, can hear you. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moses. All right, so we just need to round up now.
Yes.
That's up.
Yes.
You're still curious about why the federal government is so insistent.
Yes, that Sambisa forest should be made use. In that, well, that's one option. You can do a whole lot of things, but then that is far from there, because people will also need to eat cattle.
Apart from the deforestation, I mean,
but you have a vast land here. It can be essential, but then you still have to do ranching everywhere, and that can be driven by local government. Local government can. We have so many abandoned ranches everywhere. Government should go and resuscitate that and take hold and secure the
And you
place.
think these people will not fight back?
Who?
The Fulanis.
Fight
It looks
back?
like maybe state government want to take over their livelihood, their means of livelihood.
No, there can be private-public partnership. There will be an understanding that government is driving this and securing this. If you are really genuine, come to the ranch, then you'll be trained. And then,
All right,
and then,
that's how far we can go on the program this morning. There's still so much to say, but we have to stop here. Thank you so much, sir, for
My
being a
pleasure.
part of the program this morning.
Pleasure.
And thank you for watching. I am Jumoke Michaels.
One thing I'm actually taking away from your submission so far is that there's a constitutional solution to all the problems that are currently engaging us in this country. And that's the part to two. That's your submission.
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Banji Busari. Thank you for being part of today's edition of the program. See you again on Monday. Bye.
Thank you.